sisters, Reggie and Susie, escaped from all that BS in Vienna a few years before 1939, before the war, and he helped end the war in that B-24 Liberator, so right on for that. Detonating those bombs, and he gave not one, not two, 35 missions over Germany, and my dad told me, yeah, I was the guy who had to take the cod pin out of the bomb, so when we dropped it over Germany and make sure it would bomb. Okay. You ever seen the movie Memphis Belle? Anybody ever seen the movie Memphis Belle? I watched that with my dad. Harrowing film about the B-24 bombers getting shot out, everything happening. I said, Dad, was this really how it was? He said, yeah. I got freaked out watching the movie. I said, how many times did you do that? He goes, 35 times. 35 bombing missions over Germany. He gave them a message that they never forgot. And I never forgot. It was unbelievable. And, you know, that's just pretty epic. I love when Dad said, you know, taking off was the hardest part. You had 10,000 pounds of bombs and 1,000 pounds of gasoline, and you hope you made it up the runway and took off. But 35 times, the Lucky Bastard Club, and if you've seen some pictures, those guys in the war. Look at Larry with the sound effect. All right, good stuff. So he survives the war. He finds a beautiful babe. They move to Little Neck. My dad, after the war, worked for Philco. They shut the place down. He goes, what am I going to be? How about a TV repairman? Nobody even had a TV, okay? Good job idea, Dad. So he goes to become a TV repairman, and wait a minute, the phone doesn't ring. He's got a kid, a new car, a wife, and he's got no way to pay anything. My mom says, maybe you should be like an ice cream man. He goes, no, I'm going to make it in this damn business. Okay, so he becomes a TV repairman. And suddenly, people realize how great he is, how cool he is. He says to me, 35 years later, he had serviced like 50,000 people on Long Island. Everybody loved him. They put a key under the mat. His most proud moment is that nobody ever bounced a check. Until I did a couple of years ago. But other than that, anyway, so they moved from Little Neck, where Jack and Evelyn. Who else was in Little Neck out in that? You weren't in Little Neck? All right, look, don't blow the story. One facts get in the way of this story. So you moved to Plainview and paid a lot of money for that house, yes. $14,500, okay? Jack, that's your first month's mortgage in that mansion you have at the Polo Grounds or whatever they are. All right, so now you're on Plainview and everything is great. You have 3 kids in 5 years. Mom's not even 25 years old. You know what Groucho Marx said? 27. I like my cigar, but I take it out every once in a while, all right? Okay, 3 kids in 5 years. So now you got 3 kids in 5 years, and Dad's fixing TVs, and Mom is like the super mom. She sews, she cooks, she knits sweaters, then she decides to get a job running a factory, and she's the boss there, she's the boss everywhere. One thing is, the kids start growing up, and we get a little bigger than her. Like we were 5 years old and we were bigger than her, okay? So Doug would get rowdy and my mother would say, Douglas, if you say one more thing, I'm gonna kill you and wait till your father comes home. And Douglas would hold her hands and laugh. And that went on for about 15 years. So when my father came home, here's the thing. My dad was not the most patient of men. You see, after the war, he was pissed off at everybody, you know? He pissed off at TVs, he pissed off at people who said, ever since you were here, the TV didn't work, you know, he didn't like any of that. So when he came home, my mom couldn't wait to tell the stories of all the bullshit that went on when he was away. You know what Douglas did? You know what Richard did? You know that? So my father would come upstairs, my sister was crying. He said, oh, the boys were teasing me. My father took the General Patton approach to diplomacy. He smacked me, he smacked my brother, and he said to Joe, what happened? So this went on for another 10 years. We've been in therapy for a long time to get over this stuff. And, you know, my dad was a great guy, my mom was a great gal, but they both were a little, kind of high-strung, so things were a little tense around the house occasionally. No. To this day. But it's all good, it's all good. And then, you know, things moved on, and Jill became the princess, which she was born to be. And Doug became the middle child, which he was born to be, still in therapy over that. And I was the main man because my mother said there will never be another one like me, and I've not gotten over that. So, Jeff Crane, I heard that. anyway, everything was great. And then, you know, if you think about it, you look at your parents as larger than life. My mom, I was a shy guy in high school, I know you can't believe it. She said, go for that girl, go for it, you know? And she really encouraged me, it was great, because it helped me out of my shell. And Julie, thanks for your daughters, it was really cool. And then my dad was like larger than life superstar. And I'll never forget, in the Catskills, we went up there for a softball game. It was like the dads were playing a softball game. And I was like 8 or 9, and Doug and Joe were younger. And my dad did everything with so much gusto. And he was a great athlete. Lenny and Flip and Richie would tell me what a great athlete, and there was always red this and red that. And I didn't really know. He coached us in Little League. He was a vice president of Little League. He fought with the umpires. He was like the Billy Martin of his day. But when he got a bat in his hand, I think he thought every pitcher was a Nazi invader, okay? So one guy, the softball pitch comes in, and we're in the Catskills in this game, and I'm like 8 years old, and he hits a ball. He swung like Mickey Mantle on steroids. And he hit the ball over the fence, over the trees, over everything. And guess what? They couldn't find the ball, and they had no more ball. Game was over. My dad hit the ball so far, they never found the ball. They had to quit the game, and I kept saying, that's my dad. He hit the home run that nobody else could top, the tape measure homer, and that's emblematic of you and everything that you brought to us, because you guys are the best. Absolutely. You are the home run of home runs. You hit it out of the park. We're so happy to be here, Dad and Mom. Thanks so much for everything, and I can't believe 64 years of marriage, and I hope you have like many, 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 many more. And we're thrilled to be here. Thanks again for everybody, okay? Now listen, Lenny, the guy